is going to be handled by Sister Belvedere, and she's being assisted by her young daughter Olivia. The subject of the material is remembering Jehovah and his son. So let's see how she develops that.
Mommy, is it close to the memorial?
Not really. It's probably about 6 months away.
That's a long time.
It's okay. I promise it'll go by fast. How come you seem so eager for it?
I saw this new dress. I think it would be perfect for the memorial. I can't wait to go shopping when it gets closer.
Well, shopping for the memorial can be a lot of fun, but we can't forget that that memorial is about much more than just getting a new dress.
What do you mean?
Well, why do we celebrate the memorial in the first place?
Because Jesus had to die for us since Adam was bad.
That's right. Why don't we take a minute and look into the Bible and let's look at something new. Let's see why the Israelites had to celebrate the Passover and how that kind of turned into what we celebrate as the memorial. Why don't you look into Exodus chapter 12. Do you happen to remember when the Israelites had to put the blood on the doorposts?
No.
No? Well, let's read about that. Here in chapter 12, it gives us the instructions that the Israelites had to follow. In verse 7, it talks about the lamb's blood and what they were to do to it. And verse 8 talks about the meat and what they were to do with that. It says, "And they must take some of the blood and splash it upon the 2 doorposts and the upper part of the doorway belonging to the house in which they will eat it. And they must eat the flesh on this night. They should eat it roasted with fire and with unfermented cakes along with bitter greens." So what were they to do with the lamb's blood?
Put it on the doorpost.
And what about the lamb's meat?
Eat it.
That's right. If you look down in verse 12 and 13, it's going to tell us why they had to put the blood on their doorposts. It says, "And I must pass through the land of Egypt on this night, and strike every firstborn in the land of Egypt, from man to beast, and all the gods of Egypt I shall execute judgments. I am Jehovah. And the blood must serve as your sign upon the house where you are. And I must see the blood and pass over you. And the plague will not come on you as a ruination when I strike at the land of Egypt."
I remember that. Isn't that when Pharaoh's son died?
Yeah, that is. Now, the blood, the reason for it being on the doorpost was a sign to the angel that showed that those were God's people, so their firstborn was spared. Why don't you read verse 14? This shows a commandment that the Israelites were given.
Verse 14. "And this day must serve as a memorial for you, and you must celebrate it as a festival to Jehovah throughout your generations. As a statute to time indefinite, you should celebrate it."
So the Israelites were commanded to celebrate this Passover every year so that they showed that they never forgot all that Jehovah had done for them. When Jesus came to earth, he also celebrated the Passover. But on the very last Passover that he had when he was alive, he changed a few things. He instituted or started what we now celebrate as the memorial. Let's look that up too. That's in Luke chapter 22 and verse 19 and 20. Let me read that for you. It says, "Also he took a loaf, gave thanks, broke it, and gave it to them, saying, 'This means my body, which is to be given in your behalf. Keep doing this in remembrance of me.' Also the cup in the same way, after they had the evening meal, he saying, 'This cup means the new covenant by virtue of my blood, which is to be poured out in your behalf.'" So the bread that they had, what did that represent?
His body.
Yeah, his body that he was giving for mankind. And the wine, what did that represent?
The blood.
Yeah, the blood that was about to be poured out. Did you happen to notice there in verse 19, there's another commandment. Did you see that?
Yeah, to keep doing this in remembrance of him.
Right, so Jesus set out a commandment that his followers were to do. And we still live underneath that commandment. So every year we celebrate the memorial, so we never forget. So no matter what, Olivia, whether it's time for the memorial or it's 6 months away, we should never, ever forget all that Jesus and Jehovah did for us.
Well, I'm more excited now, but I would still like a new dress.
Okay, maybe we can do that.